So you just downloaded Blender and you're trying to figure out how this program works. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that, as well as show you how to make something cool just to kind of start off with. Be sure to watch the entire video because I'm going to give you several tips and tricks that will help you in learning this program. All right, so we have our basic setup here. This is what you see whenever you start a new composition in Blender. What you're going to do first is left click and drag and select everything and hit delete, because it's tradition that you delete everything including the default cube, even if you hit Shift A, mesh, cube, and add a cube, just like the one we just deleted. Anyways, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to kind of move around within the program. If you click and hold your middle mouse button or your third mouse button, that allows you to rotate around your object. If you hold shift, that allows you to kind of pan around it, up and down, right and left. And if you hit control in your middle mouse button, that allows you to zoom in and out, in and out. Okay, so now let's start doing something with this cube. Okay, so we have our cube selected. If we hit G, that allows us to move it around. If we hit Z, that moves us, that restricts us along the Z axis. We're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, just kind of move it up a bit. And we're going to hit S to scale. That allows us to scale it. If we hit Z, that allows us to scale it only along the Z axis. We're going to kind of give it a more of a rectangular shape to it, make it a little longer. And we're going to, this is going to be the torso. And so we're going to add a head to this. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit tab to go into our edit mode. And then we're going to hit 3 to go into faces mode, so we can select individual faces on this object. What we're going to do is we're going to select the top face, and we're going to do an extrusion and scaling. So we're going to hit E to extrude, S to scale, bring this in a bit, and then kind of position around just so you can kind of see better what we're doing here. You can hit E to extrude downward, automatically locking onto the Z axis. We don't have to hit Z for this. Then we're going to hit E to extrude again, S to scale, bring this in a bit, and then we're going to pan around a bit, hit E to extrude upward. That's going to be the neck right here. And then we're going to hit E to extrude, S to scale, bring this out a bit to where it kind of overlaps this gap right here. And then we're going to hit E to extrude and bring it up. And just try to make it to where maybe this square is even on all sides, even lengths and everything. You just kind of eyeball it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I mean, you guys don't have to copy exactly what I'm doing here. I mean, I'm just basically showing you just a very simple robot that pretty much anybody, beginner or advanced will be able to build. Okay, so now we're going to start adding some detail to it. We're going to hit Control R. This is an edge loop, and edge loops fall into anywhere whatever line you have your mouse over, it will create an edge loop perpendicular to that. So like if I hold it over this line, we get, we kind of get it wrapping in a circle around here. If we bring it, hold on, hit escape, kind of pan out a bit, just show you, hit Control R again. Have my cursor on this line right here, creates a line around here or over here along the shoulder here, but we're going to do it right along the center. So we're going to left click, and notice we can adjust it if we want to, but I don't want to do that, so I'm going to hit escape so it locks in place right down the center. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here to our navigational cross over here. I'm going to click this Y right here. That has us looking directly down the Y-axis. And what I'm going to do is hit Alt-Z to go into X-ray mode, hit 3 to go into faces mode. I'm going to select all these faces on the left side, and I'm going to hit Delete, Faces, and we have half a robot now. Why do we have half a robot? Well, I'll show you. We're going to hit Alt-Z to get out of X-ray mode. We're going to go over here, and we're going to use a modifier, which is this little wrench tool right here. Modifier properties, click on that. Go to add modifier, and then we're going to go to mirror. Bam, we have half our robot back. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure, I'm going to show you something real quick. Hold and click Alt-Z, and if we select all these faces and we hit G to move it, notice how it splits apart. We don't want that, at least not for this effect. So I'm going to hit escape. To keep that from happening, we need to click this checkbox for clipping right now. So now if we hold G, or if we hit G and drag our robot around, you notice it stretches at the center instead of coming apart. So I'm going to hit escape, undo that. And so now we're going to start adding some detail here. And I'm going to hit Alt-Z, get out of X-ray mode. And we're going to do another edge loop. We're going to hit Control R. And what we're going to do is before we do anything, before we release this or anything, we're going to roll our mouse wheel. And notice it starts splitting it up into multiple edge loop cuts around the block. I'm going to do 4 cuts total. So I'm going to go ahead and left click. I'm going to hit escape so that these all lock into place on default. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some cuts along the front as well. We're going to hit Control R, and we're going to roll it twice. I'm sorry, we're going to do two cuts. So go ahead, left click, escape. Okay, so let's start pulling out, some objects here to kind of bring out, kind of create a face here. So we're going to hit 3 to go back into faces mode. We're going to select this face and these two right here. Hit E to extrude, bring these out a bit. And then one thing we're going to do is rotate around here. We're going to select this right here, hit G and X to bring it over a bit along the Z axis only. Notice everything I'm doing over here is being replicated over here. That is the beauty of using a mirror modifier, is it keeps if you're working on a character, it keeps them symmetrical. So okay, select this face, E to extrude, S to scale, bring it in just a little bit, E to extrude, bring it back a bit, and then we're going to hit E to extrude, S to scale, and then hit G, and then Y, move along the Y axis. Okay, so there's our eyes. And then we're going to select these two faces. And what we're going to do in this instance is we're going to hit I to do an inset, but we want to do multiple insets, so or individual insets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit I again, and that allows us to inset these two series of faces individually. Again, if I hit I to go back to the default, it insets them both together. So hit I again, it insets them individually. Okay, so now I'm going to hit E to extrude, bring these out a bit. And then I'm going to hit 2 to go to edges mode, and I'm going to hit Control B, and that's going to bevel them. Just kind of gives them a little more interest and everything, instead of just being such a sharp edge and everything. Okay, so now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to give this guy some. Actually, I'm going to do one thing real quick. I'm going to go up here to this top series of faces. I'm going to do an edge loop cut. Control R, just leave it where it is. Hit escape. And I'm going to select this line right here. I'm going to hit G, bring along the x-axis, bring it in. And then here's a little trick. Select this edge right here. And instead of holding shift and selecting all 3 of these, what we can do is select this one and then hold shift and control and click this one, and it selects all 3. Okay, so hit G, y-axis, bring these back a bit. Just kind of giving them a little bevel there. Okay. Now we're going to hit Control R, do another edge loop cut, and roll our mouse twice. Or we're going to do 2 edge loop cuts there. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to select this edge right here, hit S to scale along the y-axis. I'm going to bring it out a bit and holding shift to kind of make it a little more steady. Then hit 3 to go to faces mode, select these 2 faces, extrude them outward. And then I'm going to do another extrude outward, make it a little more shallow, a little less, don't extrude it out as far. Hit S to scale. So I'm going to bring it out just a little bit more along the x-axis. And then I'm going to hit E to extrude, S to scale, E to extrude outward. And then I'm going to select this face right here on top, E to extrude, S to scale. And then E to extrude upward. And then E to extrude, S to scale outward, E to extrude upward. Then I'm going to kind of do the same thing up here. Except I'm going to select, go into edges mode by hitting 2, select this edge, scale along the y-axis. And then, hit 3 to go to faces mode, E to extrude upward. So I'm going to select, kind of like what we did with the edges, if you want to do a loop selection with faces. Basically, we have this series of faces wrapping around here, and I want to select all of them at once. What we do in this instance is since I already have this face selected, I want to keep it with them. I hold Shift and then Alt, and I click this edge between these 2 faces, and it selects all the ones in a series there. So now I'm going to hit S to scale, x-axis. So that's now a little more round, a little wider overall. Then I'm going to select this face right here, E to extrude, S to scale. Now one thing about mirroring is sometimes it doesn't if you're doing something like this along the edge here, it doesn't quite do it fully symmetrically, or at least doesn't do it equally around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit G and X, scoot this in a bit so the thickness is about the same all around here. Then just do another E to extrude upward, and I'm going to scale this inward, and G over to the side. Okay, now he's got a little, oh, that's like a little siren or something where he goes, danger, warning, Will Robinson. Kudos if you know what that's from, and hopefully it's not the Netflix series. Okay, so we got the head done. Now it's time to start defining his body a bit more. Okay, so I'm going to add some detail to the body here. I'm going to do another edge loop. So I'm going to hit Control R, and I am going to do 4 cuts. And then let's see, I'm actually going to do one more here, kind of bring it down a bit. So I'm going to select this edge and this edge right here while holding Control and Shift, select them all together. Hit G, Y-axis. I'm going to do the same thing here. And then G, X-axis. Okay, starting to add some definition to this part of the robot. Now I'm just going to add some some random detail to the front of it. Going to, let's say, select these 2 faces and these 2. Okay, now I'm going to E to extrude, bring them back a bit. Now on this top part, I'm going to select these 2, and I'm going to do E to extrude, S to scale. E to extrude, bring these out a bit. We're going to do an inset, hit I to inset. And it's insetting these individually. If it doesn't, hit I again. It should inset them individually. And then E to extrude, bring these out. And then down here, we're going to do something just a little different. And again, guys, I mean, you can do whatever you want here. I mean, just however you want to add detail and everything. Just maybe try to follow along somewhat similarly to what I'm doing, or follow along exactly however you want. Do an inset. And then E to extrude, bring these out. And I think I'm going to split this up a little bit. So I'm going to do an edge, or I'm going to do an edge cut, or a loop cut. Control R, roll it to once, and we're going to get 2 cuts. Going to select these by going to faces mode by pressing 3. Control and Shift to select all those, and then Shift, and then Control and Shift, and then inset. So we're going to inset all these together. E to extrude, bring these out. Okay, let's give this guy some arms. Okay, we're going to, I'm going to split this up. I'm going to do Control R to do a loop cut here. And while we're in edges mode, if you're not in edges mode, press 2. Select these 2 edges right here on top and bottom. Scale along the Y-axis. Select this edge in the middle. Scale Y-axis. Bring it out a bit more. Okay. And then we're going to do E to extrude. Bring it in a bit. E to extrude, S to scale. E to extrude, bring it outward. And basically, that's kind of the shoulder right there, or whatever, where the arm joins onto the body. Okay, E to extrude, S to scale. And then E to extrude, bring it out. Okay. And then E to extrude, S to scale. E to extrude, bring it in. E to extrude, S to scale. E to extrude, bring it out. Okay. Now we're going to select kind of these 3 bottom faces here. And then we're going to do an inset, but we're going to hit I again, make sure all these are insetting together. Okay. Now we're going to do E to extrude and go straight down. Now, fancy little trick here. I want all these faces to be flat. I want them to all be laying flat. So what I'm going to do is hit S to scale, hit Z along the Z axis. Now notice I can scale them manually, but a little trick is you hit 0 and it flattens them perfectly. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to hit S to scale, Y axis, just kind of bring these in a bit. Okay. Now E to extrude, S to scale. And then I'm going to kind of bring these in a bit, S to scale. E to extrude, bring it down. Now I'm just going to eat extrude S to scale. S to scale, x-axis, make it a little thicker. Try to make it to where all around here these are about the same thickness. Okay, eat extrude, bring them down. Like so. Then I'm just gonna real quickly go kind of rotate around back here. Hit 2 to go in the lines or edge mode. Select that, G, Z-axis. Okay, hit 3, go back into faces mode. Select this face right here. Okay, eat extrude. Bring it out. Okay, select this one. Hit G, Z. Bring this down a bit. Okay, select this face right here. Okay, eat extrude, S to scale. Okay, eat extrude again. And then S to scale along the Z axis only by hitting Z. Okay, so this is going to get a little tricky here, but I think you guys are probably ready for it. We're going to change some settings up here. So right now our transformation orientation is set to global. And so what that means is it's based on the grid and everything, which you see right here. What we're going to do is we're going to set it to normals. And so what that does is, like normally if I, no pun intended, if I was to select this face and hit G and move it around, it would move it around based on the standard X, Y, and Z coordinates. But now if I hit G and set it to Y, it moves it along the Y axis of this plane. So if I hit Z, moves it on its own Z axis, X, it moves along the X axis, which is the same as the grid right now. But this can come into play into your favor very well, depending on how you use it. And you guys will probably come up with some creative ways to work with it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have this face selected, this bottom one selected. And then another setting we're going to set is we're going to, up here where it says transform pivot point. Right now, it's set on median point, which basically means that between these two faces, however it reacts, it's going to be based on a center point between these two objects. What we want to do is set it to individual origins. So these will both react based on their individual faces. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit eat extrude, S to scale. And then when we hit eat extrude and bring them out, they move along their own normals. And then we're going to do eat extrude, S to scale. And we're going to do eat extrude outward. And we're going to do S to scale. And then we're going to hit R to rotate and X to restrict the rotation along the X axis. Eat extrude. And then R to rotate along the X axis by hitting X. Hit S to scale. And eat extrude. And then let's see, R to rotate along the x-axis. Then eat extrude outward. We're going to rotate these along the x-axis by hitting R and X. Eat extrude. S to scale. R to rotate along the x-axis by hitting R. And eat extrude. Okay, R to rotate x-axis. Okay, got some kind of wicked looking claws on this guy right now. Anyways, we're almost done with the geometry right now, but let's, he needs to be able to walk, so let's give him some legs. These are going to be very basic. Select this face right here. Let's just scale it up a little bit, not that much, a little bit. Okay, this is going to be pretty basic down here. Eat extrude. Just bring it out a little bit. Actually, let's bring a little bit more. Hit G and Z, keep it along the Z axis. Eat extrude, S to scale. And then we're going to eat extrude downward. Not going to give him any knees. Like I said, they're going to be pretty basic. Let's go ahead and bring it down a bit, and then we're going to just give him some basic feet. Eat extrude, S to scale, I'm sorry. And then eat extrude downward. And then eat extrude, S to scale outward. And then eat extrude. Let's hit our X over here on our directional cross right here. Snap, we're looking down. We're now directly looking down our X axis. Hit G, Z axis. Okay, good. Heat extrude outward automatically along the Z plane based on the face itself. Let's go ahead and turn from normals back to global. And let's go ahead and change back to median point. Let's hit G, Z axis. Okay, we're kind of a nifty little robot here. We're going to just kind of give him a little basic little backpack right here. Select, I'm just selecting these faces right here. Heat extrude outward. Okay, we're going to do select these edges. I'm going to select this one, hold shift, select this edge right here, hold control and shift, select that, selects all those right there. And then just these last two, going to do a bevel, control B. Okay. I think I'm going to select these two faces right here, extrude inward, do an eye, do an inset, hit I again, individual insets, heat extrude outward. I'm going to select, let's see, select these two faces, heat extrude as to scale, hit G, x-axis, bring these in a bit, heat extrude, and then heat extrude as to scale, G-axis, I'm sorry, hit G and move it along the x-axis by hitting X, and then heat extrude outward. Okay, so we have a robot. Let's keep going. I know we're pretty committed here so far as time, but hopefully you guys are enjoying this, because we're gonna give this guy a little more definition with some materials. So okay, so real quick, we're gonna go up here to our collection and change him to robot, and then we're gonna hit Shift A and add in a plane as to scale. Scale a little bit more. Okay, we're going to go up here to our funnel, little filter thing, and we're going to turn on the selectable option, and we're going to actually disable selection mode for the plane, so we can't select it. All we can select is a robot. One thing so what we're going to do right now is currently we're in solid mode for viewport shading. Let's go over here to material preview mode, select that. So you can see everything is white right now because we need to add some surfaces to the robot. So what we're going to do is we're going to select the robot, and we're going to go down here to material properties, and we're going to add new. And then for our base color for the robot, I think we're going to go with kind of a light, kind of almost slightly greenish blue color. We're going to bring down the darkness of it a little bit. Okay, so there's our basic color. So now we need to add some colors to kind of differentiate here and there at secondary colors. So we're going to hit tab to go into edit mode. So I want to select all these around the upper arm. So I'm going to hold my mouse over this line right here, and I'm going to hit Alt, click on it. And same thing with these right here, holding Shift and Alt, select those. So we've got kind of that area right there. I want to select his lower arms as well, so I'm going to do that. Select these right here. Select these. Let's see, I'm moving around here. I know this is a little tedious sometimes, so we have to select some certain things. Tediousness a lot of times is what happens in Blender whenever you're selecting a lot of things at once. Okay, I'm going to do the legs. Can't really see those, but still going to get them anyways. Get underneath here, the robot pant legs. Let's see, what else? Select these and these right here. And these. Remember, I'm holding Shift and then an Alt and selecting these lines, and it's doing a circular selection. You'll get a feel for it. Sometimes it can be a little frustrating to understand how this works. It just requires a lot of practice, which really encompasses anything art related. Okay, so we have several different things kind of selected. We're going to add a new material by going up here and clicking the plus sign. Make sure and hit assign and then new. And we're going to go up here into our blue color and we're going to darken it a lot. So you see we're kind of adding a little more interest here. We're going to add another accent color. This time we're going to, we're going to select kind of around this shoulder here. Select these. Let's see, what else should we add to this? I think we'll do some of the facial features here. Just trying to limit the amount of colors you have on your characters, and I mean this isn't the only way you can do it. I mean you can add actual like textures that you're either painting on or in Photoshop or something. I mean this is just kind of a quick way you can kind of create something cool or maybe rough something out very quickly. Sorry guys, I get a little quiet here whenever I'm just selecting stuff very quickly. Let me know who's still watching at this point. I'll give you a little shout out here. Definitely appreciate anyone who's actually watching the whole tutorial. Okay. So go ahead and add another material, assign. Click new. And I think we're going to go with just kind of a straight on grayish color. Bring it down a bit. Now let's get a nice bright color in here. For that, we're going to use that on the claws. Be sure and let me know what you guys think of these tutorials. I mean, are they too long, too short? Am I moving too fast? Are these helpful? Am I telling you everything I'm doing? Are you guys getting lost constantly? I mean, truthfully, really what you should do is the first time you put one of these on, I mean, I know everyone's in a hurry to learn the program and everything because it's an amazing program and all, but really it's very helpful to just sit and watch a couple of videos and just really get a feel for the program and how it works, because trust me, there'll be plenty of time later on to work and learn the program and everything on your own, because I mean really it just requires a lot of experimentation. And I know you guys maybe guys are out there wanting to get moving very quickly and start making money and everything. And again, don't worry, that will all come in time, guys. Don't worry. Okay, so we've got part selected. We're going to add a bright color, add a new, assign, plus, and we're going to add a yellow. And we're going to make this yellow I think we're going to make it shiny. So we're going to drag our roughness down. I want to change his feet to a different color. So I'm going to select these. Say, turn on X-ray mode. Make sure I'm selecting the bottoms of them as well. X-ray mode off. That's the Alt-Z if you can't remember. I'm going to go up here to our materials, and I'm going to make his feet that grayish color, sign. And then I always like to do this thing that kind of helps separate some things apart. I'm going to select his neck and this area kind of recessed in here. I don't think nope, I didn't. Select this right here, these recessed areas. Same thing here, and here, and here. Go ahead and select these. Get his ankles as well. those and those. And this right there. Okay, add another material plus assign, and I'm just going to bring this all the way down, and I'm actually going to drag the roughness up so it doesn't reflect light as much. Okay, now let's add some lights to this guy. Turn them on. Okay, so select there. Oops, nope, don't want to do that. Got that, select there. And then we're going to add a new material, new assign, and then what we're going to do is we're going to change from principled BSDF to an emission. Hope that didn't change our plane as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the color to red, and then we're going to change our strength to 10. So as you can see, his eyes are pretty bright and blown out and everything. This will take effect later when we start doing some, turning on our lights and everything and all that, and kind of do some render settings. Hit tab, select his robot teeth. Okay, add another material, new, assign. Oops, forgot. Need to change from BSDF to emission. And we're going to make this one yellow and same thing, set to 10. Okay, so we have a nifty little robot here. Looks probably pretty harmless. Okay, all right. Now we need to add some lights, and so we can kind of finish this thing up and be done with it. Actually, I'm going to add a texture to the plane, the ground plane, real quick. Add new. Change the base color. We're actually going to go. Let's say we're going to go. Yeah, we're going to go with the red. Darken it a bit. So we're going to select the ground plane, hit tab, and then 2 to go to edges mode. Okay, got these all selected in edit mode. E to extrude, Z plane. G, move it up. Okay, turn off the selectable for the plane so we don't select it. We only select the robot if we want to. And now we're going to add some lights. Actually, let's see, I want to scale this plane out a bit more. So S to scale. Okay, turn the plane off. Actually, let's go ahead and turn the robot off because we're going to add some lights. Because right now, if we go into viewport shading, render preview, all you can see are the lights really on his face. I mean, you can still kind of see his body and everything, but we need to add some lights. So we're going to hit Shift A. Going to go to light area, hit G, move this light up, and as you can see, it's not very bright. Also, right now, I just want to make sure if you go right now to your render properties, make sure your render engine is Eevee, because if we're in Cycles, Cycles tends to be a bit more demanding and everything. I mean, it still looks, Cycles is an excellent rendering engine and everything, but it tends to bog things down a bit. So yeah, we're going to go back to Eevee. Okay, because Eevee just allows you to have just amazing lighting and shadows and everything, but it's a very strong real-time rendering engine. Okay, so we got our lights selected. Let's go back down to Object Data Properties, and we're going to change our power to 1000 watts. So already we're starting to look a little bit better here. We're going to move this light out, G, Y-axis, G, X-axis. We're going to hit R to rotate it along the X-axis. I'm holding Control just to kind of make it a little more snappy. Rotate Z-axis, turn it towards the robot. If you've seen my other videos, you notice that I do this in almost every tutorial. I just like to add this in just so that everyone just gets the practice. For those of you that are watching all my videos, get the practice of actually working with lights and all these and everything. It's just about basically learning to build something from start to finish, and even adding a light setup and everything to it, just to give it a little more finished look. I'm going to change this light to, actually not that much. Give it kind of a yellowish hue to it. All right, and then we're gonna go down to shadow, and we're gonna turn on contact shadows. That just gives us a little more crisp, a little more cleaner shadows. And we're gonna mess with some render settings here in a minute. Okay, we're going to copy this light, Shift D, G, X-axis. Don't worry, we're going to turn it back to face him. Rotate Z-axis. And then we're going to set our color to light blue. Shift D, G, Y-axis. Just bring it back further on the Y-axis. Rotate Z-axis. Okay, we got this lighting up the behind him. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this light right here that we turned to blue, and I'm actually no, I'm going to select the yellowish one, and I'm going to make it a bit brighter. Let's see what 2000 looks like. Good. Now this light back here, we're going to set it to 5000. I want to have a very bright backlight to him, and let's go ahead. Let's see. Yeah, let's just kind of go with a kind of a greenish light to it. And you know, let's adjust some of our properties on our materials. Let's go up here to our light area, our area lights. Let's turn these off, or turn off the selectable on them. Let's turn the robot back on, select them, and let's go back to our material properties. And let's see, this is our bluish texture. We're going to bring the roughness down, and then we're going to turn up metallic, so we get just kind of a more metallic look there. Same thing with this blue material. Well, I'm not sure why it's not scrolling upward. Oh, right here. Okay, our blue material. We're going to turn up the metallic on it as well. And then this right here, which is our shoulders, we're actually going to make this very shiny. You know what, just to kind of give a little more, actually I need to brighten it up a bit too, because we're getting a little too dark. You know, I'm going to select, I'm going to actually hit 3 to go to face selection, select these right here, and I'm actually going to make them this darker color. There, looking good so far. Okay, so we need to adjust some lighting properties. So what we're going to do really quick is I'm going to go over here to my render properties, and some of these settings you may have to kind of you know, check some of them on and off and everything depending on your hardware that you're running. I'm going to turn on ambient occlusion, bloom. Notice that what I did right here is we got a bit more light to the eyes and the robot's, you know, teeth or whatever you want to call them down here. Turn these, let's see, down arrows. Yeah, I think those are good. Depth of field, high quality slight, whatever that is, jitter camera, subsurface scattering, leave those as is. Screen space reflections. Say turn on refraction, motion blur. I mean, I just turn that on anyways. I mean, that's for animation. Volumetrics, I'm going to turn mine down to 2. Basically, this is dependent on your hardware, or at least that's my understanding, is that your hardware determines, you know, how low you can turn your tile size. It just helps with lighting overall and shadows. Volumetric shadows, performance, I'm going to turn on high quality normals. Hair, my robot does not have hair. You may have added some to yours, and so you may want to turn that on, but that depends on what kind of robot you created. Shadows, cube size, I'm going to turn this all the way up. This is going to clean up our shadows a lot. Cascade size, 4096, high bit depth. Indirect lighting, actually I'm not going to mess with that right now. We don't need that for what we're doing right now. Simplify, I'm going to leave the rest of these as is. Film, no, I'm going to leave that as is. So as you can see, we got a little bit better lighting here. I think I'm going to turn up the settings on some of our lights here. I'm going to, especially this one, this back one, going to go back down to, well, hold on, I've got something else selected here. Okay, got the light selected, the rear light, object data properties. I'm actually going to see what 10,000 looks like. Okay, that's a bit brighter. The front light, the front reddish orangish light, going to turn that up to 3,000. Okay, so you know we got some nice glares here and everything, and we got kind of a cool looking robot going here. Actually, let's see. I'm gonna go over here to world properties, and I'm gonna turn our color down to black. That'll just kind of help kind of define some shadows a bit better. I'm going to go to our robot. I'm going to tweak some of my colors a bit more. I'm going to go up here to our first material. I'm going to bring down the brightness of it. So yeah, we have a little robot here. If you guys want to keep watching, I know this is getting pretty lengthy and everything as far as content and everything, but hopefully you're getting a lot out of this. We're going to add a camera, Shift A, and we're going to go to camera. Now the camera drops in directly where the 3D cursor is, which is right here. But what we can do is go up here to view and do align view and align active camera to view. So basically that drops the camera in right where we have our view set up. I'm going to change my focal length to 24 millimeters. Basically the focal length works just like camera lenses. So I mean, 24 millimeters is going to be similar to if you're using a 24 millimeter lens. Yeah, any experience you guys have in photography is going to play in very well into Blender. So I'm going to hit, actually one thing I'm going to do right now is go up here and make sure everything is turned off as far as being selectable except for our camera. So right now, make sure our camera is selected. Okay. Go to view, navigation, walk navigation. And now if I just, without clicking or anything, if I just move my mouse around, I can move it around as if I'm moving the camera around freely myself. And I can even use the WASD keys to move around and pan around the robot. And I can even use Q and E to move up and down. So, gonna kind of come around here. Getting a little too bright of a glare there. I'm gonna have to turn down some lights here. But I mean, as you can see, it's pretty simple working within Blender and how to, just kind of, make something cool for, very quickly, or at least make something fun. Some of you guys probably want to make like the Terminator or RoboCop or Iron Man or something like that, but you got to start small. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to hit like and subscribe and the little notification bell to be alerted for future videos, because I'm working on a lot of Blender tutorials right now and just trying to spread my knowledge and just trying to give back to the community. So anyways, again, hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you want to, feel free and share. Otherwise, I'll see you guys later in another tutorial.